Have you ever taken drugs? Have you ever experienced what is called a trip where you lose your senses and become delirious like Dr. House in that one episode of House MD? You probably took a type of drug called a psychedelic, which is also known as a hallucinogen. LSD, psilocybin, and ketamine are examples of such drugs. When someone takes these kinds of substances, they enter a state called psychosis that can alter their thoughts, feelings, and even cause hallucinations. While the effects of psychedelics vary based on the individual taking them and their environment, they greatly impact parts and specific processes in the brain. But to understand how psychedelics affect the brain and cause psychosis, let's first look at the basics of signal messaging with ligands and receptor proteins. The ligand is the molecule that contains the message and is sent to its matching receiving molecule, the receptor, which can then either relay the signal to another molecule or directly cause a change in the cell. Now, that's an overview of how signal transduction works, but how does it apply to the brain, and more importantly, drugs? Well, in the brain we have something called neurons, which have receptor proteins attached to them and can release neurotransmitters, a type of ligand. Psychosis and hallucinations can be triggered when a drug either activates or blocks a receptor protein, and there are different receptors that bind to different drugs, just like with neurotransmitters. Psychedelics usually activate the 5-HT2A receptor as agonists, meaning they are molecules that bind to the protein in order to elicit a response. With the stimulation of cortical neurons by the interaction between the drug and the 5-HT2A receptor, a disruption in the sensory gating of a region in the brain called the thalamus is triggered, and this has been theorized to subsequently result in the abnormal experience and feelings that are commonly associated with hallucinations. Now, with everything I just told you, you might be thinking that drugs must be targeting every single neuron in the brain in order to cause such intense reactions, but it's actually the opposite. Hallucinogens have been found to activate only a small amount of the aforementioned 5-HT receptor neurons, just in vital areas of the brain, such as the prefrontal cortex. Researchers call this group of neurons a quote-unquote trigger population, since they seem to display a high sensitivity to the psychedelics and heighten the drug's effects. So the next time you watch Greg House get high in a bathroom, maybe you think about how the drugs are interacting with his 5-HT2A receptors. Are they as attracted to the proteins as House is to Wilson? I hope you enjoyed watching this video, but as a final note, I have just one thing to say. Don't do drugs, kids.